because Devesh is the coolest, smartest hacker man of the Goa campus. Everybody knows him as a hacker man, and he started coding in first year only. And he's some electronics, but he
No,
doesn't do.
second year.
Oh, some when did you start? The second year. Hey, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And Devesh is from electronics, and from electronics he made a switch from electronics to like software development. Devesh can give an intro of yourself.
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Devesh. I'm in the EC branch, and right now I'm an SD1 at MPL, and yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. And Devesh is too humble. He did Gsoc as well. He was Gsoc mentor as well. He did an intern at GitHub as well, I think. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I was not a mentor. I didn't become a mentor.
Okay.
I opted to become a mentor actually.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right, all right. Got it. So Devesh, like I think we'll start from first year onwards. Like how was your journey? Like how did you get introduced to coding and when did you start coding? You have any background
Uh,
experience in that?
like in first, I had a prior normal C++ experience in 11th, 12th
Hmm.
while I was in school. First year, I wasn't into coding. Like I was just having fun.
Hmm.
Okay, just living my life, living with people. First year was pretty chill only. Like it wasn't at a peak. It was very
Yeah,
basic,
yeah,
very
yeah.
basic.
Okay.
Um, so basically, in first year, people should explore. I tried to explore a lot of stuff. I tried to explore uh, robotics. I took the CT courses, and I also uh, tried to participate in some competitions, coding competitions, like all of us did. Again,
Yeah, yeah,
first year, I
yeah.
also did that Andrew NG stuff.
Okay.
Andrew NG is like the legend, and everyone has done those courses, those specializations at least
Yeah,
once.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, even I went down that path.
yeah,
So I was just living a pretty basic chill life, trying to
yeah,
explore.
yeah,
And I think I didn't explore a lot in my first year. I should have explored more. On an average, people did explore more than me
yeah.
while I was in my first.
Okay, okay.
So yeah.
Yeah. I think you're an intern at the end of your first year itself, right? I mean, I think you do an internship at the end of
Uh,
your first.
no, I didn't do an internship.
Okay. So, like, how did you go about learning web development and like, how did your
Uh,
track to web dev start?
I mean, there was a school club. It still
Yeah,
is. There was Gsoc.
yeah,
Uh, so there, I guess chief monitor was Ishan. So I just contacted him ki, I'm learning stuff. I want to get into it. So he said that, yeah, cool. And he said me to learn stuff. And so I just showed him my progress. So
yeah.
he was like, yeah, you cool. You can join
Oh,
us.
bro, one second. This is buffering a little bit.
So
One second.
धीरे धीरे
Devesh, एक second. वो थोड़ा नेट का
I
प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है.
started developing.
हेलो.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
एक सेकंड नेट का प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है वो आई
Hello.
जस्ट
Yeah.
नेट का प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है भाई एक सेकंड थोड़ा आई जस्ट पॉज
I can switch on the record. Okay. So, as I said, through DevSoc, I got into learning. Okay. I was into making some small projects, helping people out, trying to learn stuff. And धीरे धीरे करते करते uh, I started acting, working very actively there. And at that time, I guess my CG was also pretty low. It was like at that time it did due to online STEM people had a rise in my CGPA. I had the opposite. My CG went low, so it became about 6.88. Okay.
हाँ
So I
yeah
was like, CG is getting fucked, and I was also mentally like, it's not happening as I wanted it to be. Okay.
yeah
So
yeah
I was like, leave it. I'm enjoying this stuff, so I'll
yeah
do this stuff.
yeah
So also, uh, there was this project. I hope everyone knows this. In my batch or the 2020 batch, we had the online emoji, right?
yeah 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 That was basically for people who don't know the
message of
emoji.
joy.
Yeah.
So
Can you just explain the emoji part? What does it do? Like, can you just explain the work?
so basically, what happened there was that we made a project, okay, where
Mm,
people could send each other's messages
mm,
anonymously.
yeah,
So there was also a dashboard, there were dashboards for admin and the core, basically the
yeah,
coordinating committee and the core of
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah,
So the coordinators would
yeah,
have messages. They would allot some messages to their core, and then
yeah,
the core would review messages,
mm,
mark them as, I as far as I remember, there were three flags: red, yellow, and green.
yeah, yeah,
So the red flag one would go to the coordinators, and they would straight away reject it. The
mm,
green flags one, they would approve them, and it would go to the, the
yeah,
the person whom it was destined to.
yeah, yeah,
So this was a platform with reviews. So
yeah,
everyone used it like it was a massive hit. Like
yeah, yeah.
about 25,000 something messages were sent.
Oh, yeah,
Uh, Almost everyone at that time used it and everyone liked it.
yeah,
So everyone was appreciating it also. And I
yeah,
felt really happy because I was a major part of it.
yeah,
And I was like, yeah, this is the shit I'm doing.
yeah,
And this is like making an impact not for others also, but for myself as well.
yeah,
So now I was going pretty confident. I started contributing even more actively.
yeah,
And like I was like, Gsoc aa raha hai, let's give
yeah,
it a try. ठीक है. I was pretty
yeah,
confident at that time.
yeah,
And at that time, we were also learning a new framework called Nest.js.
yeah,
So Nest.js is basically a backend framework, uh, a wrapper for Node.js basically.
yeah,
Uh, so it was pretty tough at the beginning, but
mm,
eventually that helped me to learn docs and stuff because
yeah,
it was a pretty uh, high on documentation
mm,
framework, and it
mm,
had less YouTube resources available, so you had to read a
okay,
lot of docs.
yeah,
So while applying to Gsoc,
mm,
I chose three orgs finally. One which
yeah,
was using Nest.js, it
yeah,
was JBOSS.
yeah,
One and the other two were smaller orgs. They were simply using Next.js,
okay,
Next.js and TypeScript. Not
okay.
Nest.js, Next.js.
Next chess,
You
yeah,
can you can call it React only, kind of.
yeah, yeah,
So React and TypeScript basically.
yeah,
I was like, this is pretty basic. I
yeah,
wanna do the Next.js stuff. Okay,
okay,
I wanna do backend stuff here.
yeah,
So I was like contributing to all of them pretty actively. Basically,
okay,
my GSOC journey was like I was going through 15 to 20 repos. I
mm,
started setting up a lot of them.
mm,
I did not have a Linux on my system. I didn't
yeah,
have a Mac. So I was using
okay,
Windows. So it was
yeah,
even more tough to me to set up repos because a lot of them won't work only on Windows.
yeah,
So it was pretty tough for me to find orgs would have their
yeah,
repositories working on Windows. Once I did
okay,
that, I started contributing to all of these very
yeah,
actively. ठीक है? Very actively.
yeah,
Like I was very active on follow-ups and what they
mm,
wanted, what they expected, and I quickly picked up their best practices.
mm,
And luckily, like I was sure कि मेरा out of the three, at least in two, these two, I had confirmation kind of.
wow,
So I had finally got accepted for GSOC in JBOSS,
yeah,
the stuff which I wanted to do, the new stuff,
yeah,
and there I contribute towards building their application.
mm,
So basically, they were making an educational platform
okay,
uh, for from scratch. ठीक है?
mm,
There were two projects. The front end was done by the other guy,
mm,
and the entire backend was done by me.
okay,
So that was a very big learning experience. My mentor there, Abhishek, he was also a kind of a very pro guy. So Abhishek had done LFX also. He was an MLH fellow also, and
okay,
right now he's remotely working some.
okay,
He used to review my PRs every night, ठीक है?
okay,
And every week we used to discuss stuff. So I was also getting the hang of the scrums which we have, ठीक है?
yeah,
So every week would have meeting and we would discuss the progress and
mm,
what next we have to do. He
mm,
also helped me draw uh, low level and high level designs of stuff. कि how are we gonna scale it? हमारा architecture कैसा होगा? How would our
Mm.
backend look like? ठीक है? And
Mm.
I also learned stuff like caching and all. ठीक है?
Mm.
And there only I picked up stuff like AWS using
Mm.
AWS EC2 instances and
Mm.
other DevOps stuff. So that was a very changing experience because there I got exposed to more of backend. Initially, I
Yeah.
was more on front
Yeah.
end,
Yeah.
and here I got exposed to a lot of backend stuff.
Yeah.
So this helped me grow,
Yeah.
and I successfully completed the project. Initially, the project was very large.
Yeah. Yeah.
Initially, we thought ki we are working so much, and
Yeah.
the other people who were in Gsoc, their projects were slightly smaller. We thought because
Yeah. Yeah.
and we were working so much. So
Okay.
we were scared also ki will the project be over by the deadline or not?
Mm.
But
Mm.
we pushed through. It
Mm.
got over, and
Yeah.
after like endless TR reviews and
Yeah.
stuff, we finally uh, did it, and it got successfully completed. So that
Oh.
was about GSOC.
Oh. Got it. Got it.
Now,
One second. Just
so
before we
after
get on the
GSOC,
yeah, yeah. One
you
second.
know,
Just 1 second. So before when did you start contributing? Because like the deadline, the GSOC official period starts in May, I guess, April or May. That's when you start applying proposals and all start.
yeah,
So when did you start
the
contributing?
orgs opened at the
Yeah.
orgs opened at March. ठीक है?
Okay. Yeah.
March में the orgs opened. Generally, people start contributing from December, January only.
Yeah. Yeah.
ठीक है?
Yeah.
But I started contributing quite late. I started
Okay.
contributing from March.
Oh. Okay.
ठीक है?
Fast.
And there were people who were already 2 months ahead of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, I will push through. So I pushed through that 2 month gap they had,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was like,
Yeah.
if you are doing two, then I
Yeah.
would do four.
Okay. Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
competing with people who were already months ahead of me in
Yeah.
contributions,
Okay. Yeah.
and I was surprised that by the end of the proposal time, I was at the top in all of
Okay.
the organizations I had applied.
Oh. Oh.
So
Damn.
that was a different experience for me.
Damn.
So that was fun, kind of, because at that time I had my PS1 also going on,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to be honest, and it
Yeah.
was fun. Like
Yeah.
my PS was in Red Cross,
Yep.
and there also we didn't have much work.
Yeah.
So what I did was uh, give us some project so that we can write, and
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
we had a project on volunteer management system. ठीक है? So
Yeah.
it was pretty simple.
Yep.
You, uh, means I made the complete website for a group of 10 people, and I was
Okay.
like, we'll do it together. I made
Okay.
everything. I made the PPT also for all of my friends. I was like, present कर देंगे. And side by side, PS1 also got over,
Yep.
GSOC also got over.
Oh,
And
damn.
PS1 हमारा online हुआ था, so you know how
Hmm.
pretty chill and tight also it was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, yeah,
Like we had to ask for work कि कुछ तो दे दो, we have nothing.
yeah. At least like you did something. I didn't do shit. Like, like, PS1 was like PS1 was
Everyone
like
was kind of exploring only, at that time. The
yeah, yeah,
boom of courses, Coursera,
yeah,
Udemy, everyone was there
yeah,
in the
yeah,
COVID time.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
everyone wanted to explore tech. ठीक है?
yeah, yeah.
So
True, true.
I remember in our second year at that time, ठीक है?
Hmm.
Everyone was like, we are gonna do this course, we are gonna do this course.
Hmm.
And even I was confused.
Hmm.
Do DSA, ठीक है? Do ML, do web
Uh,
dev, what to do? And
yeah,
how to, and will I like it? Am I
uh,
liking what I'm doing?
yeah.
No,
That's a big question.
these
Yeah,
questions will still remain, I guess. These questions will still remain.
yeah,
But yeah, that's it.
yeah, yeah. I think it's important to like keep continuing, and then you'll eventually figure it out. Once you do enough of one
Yeah.
thing, slowly, slowly you'll figure it out. Yeah, and after GSOC, and you had your externship, I guess, like the GitHub Extern. Can you tell us about
So
that?
what
Like,
happened was ki
yeah.
after all of this stuff, what happened is um there was summer internships. I prepped a lot of it. ठीक है?
Hmm.
I prepped a lot of DSA. I even went through interviews for some companies. Again, at that point of time, my CG was pretty low. So
Hmm.
whenever I used to go for interviews, my CG used to be the lowest among the lot.
Yeah.
So I remember even in this company we had service now. I
Yeah.
went till the last round. We had 3 rounds.
Yeah.
Every round was 1.5 hour long.
Wow.
And after all the interviews were tip top,
Yeah.
still I got rejected. So like
Wow.
that was a very sad phase for me. I
Yeah.
was kind of desperate for something, ठीक है?
Uh-huh.
कि at least give me, I want to work at a good company, ठीक है?
Yeah.
कि I have worked so much, at least I deserve to be in a good company, ठीक है? So still stuff wasn't going positive for me. So
Hmm.
now what happened was we had this new program called GitHub Externship.
Hmm.
There was some of my friends told me about it, and I saw it on LinkedIn also. And this time we had orgs like GitHub and Cred participating in it. So
Hmm.
what GitHub Externship is like it's a program like Gsoc, like MLH
Hmm.
by GitHub, where they have companies coming in instead of like as organizations where
Hmm.
you can make your proposal, contribute, and get into.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when the GitHub externship proposal was actually going on,
Hmm.
at that time, uh, uh, our compres was actually happening on campus
Okay.
on
Okay.
3-1. And I
Okay.
hadn't, and I was still into development. I was learning a
Yeah.
lot of stuff. I remember at that time I was
Yeah.
learning Vue.js also, okay?
Yeah.
Because some of their orgs were using Vue.js. I
Yeah.
was learning, uh, you know, uh, other. I was learning 3JS also because it was pretty
Okay.
cool and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So I was still into development.
Hmm.
At that time, we were on campus and I wasn't still going to classes. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, I haven't been to classes till now.
Hmm.
Okay. I know even if I study 1 2 days, it's not gonna make a difference.
Yeah.
So compre light, I'll I'll prep for GitHub externship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
And I'll add it.
yeah.
I'll give it my best shot.
Yeah.
And I had planned it this way that there was this org called Parasitos. It
Hmm.
had its project called Talava.
Hmm.
So there I had contributed so much that I
Hmm.
was at the top
Okay.
at
Huh.
the new project.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I was, and this org had come into for GSOC last year.
Hmm.
So I was like, what if I don't get this? Okay. So I will have enough backing that I can go for GSOC next
Yeah.
year in the same org.
Again. Yeah.
So I had planned it in such a way that I have a backup.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
I get into it, I will still see what GSOC. Okay. I
Okay.
had
Huh.
this as a plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
GSOC
Yeah.
for a second time.
Yeah.
Uh, so what happened is I contributed to Talava a lot, to all of them a lot. GitHub also, they really liked my profile.
Yeah.
They had 2 interviews,
Hmm.
and I just applied for GitHub because
Okay.
everyone who came for GitHub extensive, everyone applied for GitHub. Obviously, it would be a top choice, na?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Of
so
course.
everyone applied for GitHub and Cred. So
Yeah.
I didn't expect much from GitHub. I just
Yeah.
applied there, and like stuff
Yeah.
happened, and
Yeah.
after that, uh, when the results came out for GitHub externship, I
Yeah.
got to know I had been selected for GitHub itself.
Oh fuck. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Among the orgs which I had applied for, we could apply for 4 or 5 orgs, I guess.
Hmm.
Uh, I had expected that I would get selected here, not GitHub, but I
Hmm.
got selected for GitHub itself, something which I hadn't thought also.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So, so I was really happy.
Yeah.
Also at that time, I had also applied. I was also looking for off-campus opportunities.
Hmm.
I was getting referrals, but I wasn't getting test links. And if I wasn't, and if I was, and when I was getting test links, I wasn't getting interview calls.
Yeah.
So I applied off-campus to on Angel List to MPL. Okay.
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
And there they had a prereq that they needed people who had done GSOC.
Okay. Huh.
So I did that. So I applied to at MPL. Uh, I asked Ishan Bhaiya ki what kind of
Yeah.
stuff they asked. Okay, what should I
Yeah.
prep for? So told that you should focus on, JavaScript, because they ask a lot of JavaScript. They might ask you to code some UI, so you should know best practices. You should also read on stuff like how debounce and all works, okay,
Okay.
and how closures and all works. Means basic. You should know JavaScript interview questions.
Okay. Hmm. Okay.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
I prepped and I had my interviews, and I also got an offer from MPL for internship.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
So January, both of them started GitHub Externship and
Yeah.
MPL.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, I had fun doing both. Uh, uh, Through GitHub, I had the opportunity to work on Ruby. Okay.
Okay. Ruby
It
on
was a
Rails.
fairly new language. It was a very
Yeah.
new language to me, but I learned about it.
Hmm.
And in MPL, my work was more of a web person kind of. So I
Hmm.
was a full stack developer there as an intern.
Hmm.
So I learned stuff like Elasticsearch and
Hmm.
how we and Zookeeper. So
Hmm.
basically, in one of my projects in MPL, I had used Zookeeper client to
Hmm.
manage nodes
Hmm.
of all the system where
Hmm.
people could write and edit their logs. So I
Hmm.
had made an admin dashboard for it,
Hmm.
through where people could create, edit, or delete anything. They could do anything.
Yeah.
That was one of the projects, and its front end was built in Next.js, and
Hmm.
for its backend also I had used the server side rendering of Next.js, and I had used type ORM,
Okay.
ORM. I had used an ORM, and
Okay.
apart from that, I had also uh you know worked with PostgreSQL. So the
Okay.
last time
Easy.
I had worked with PostgreSQL earlier also,
Yeah.
but for a first time, like uh independently, like
Yeah.
most of our work is in NoSQL, right? I
Hmm.
had worked with SQL also before, but uh this was like a good learning experience for me again as well, in both front end and back end,
Hmm.
as both of them were helped me to learn fairly new share of concepts.
Yep.
And post that, I there was another project where I had to make API docs where people could search, and people could
Hmm.
just write there or upload JSON and
Hmm.
could look up for it using Elasticsearch.
Okay.
So that was also a wonderful learning experience for me, because I done work for using Elasticsearch.
Hmm.
It was my first time with Elasticsearch.
Okay.
So means there was a lot of firsts I was having in these
Hmm.
first
Okay.
3 or 4 months. I was learning a lot, and between these, I had R32 as well. So I was having fun. I was roaming around, chilling
Yeah. Yeah.
around, okay,
Yeah.
meeting
Yeah.
new people, making new friends.
Yeah.
I had my Amazon interviews also,
Oh.
okay.
Okay.
So I
Yeah.
was like, I have these two, okay, with me, but
Yeah.
now I have Amazon also.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the problem was that uh, I wasn't prepped for interview.
Okay. DSA was not. That's right.
Because I had left DSA now.
Yeah. Yeah.
After SIP and all, I had left DSA for
Yeah.
months.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And now Amazon results had come so late that you have interviews. I
Hmm.
wasn't prepped.
Hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
so basically, uh, what happened was in Amazon interview, I had contacted a senior. Okay.
एक
I
सेकंड एक
contacted a
सेकंड
lot of
एक सेकंड भाई एक सेकंड वो जूम लिंक